You know, I thought that I'd seen Marjorie Greene already hit rock bottom, but what tends to happen with Marjorie Greene is that time and time again, I realized there was a lower rock bottom and she hits that. And that's what I have for you here. During a recent hearing relating to IRS whistleblowers, another one of these GOP stunt hearings attempting, political stunt hearings, I should say, attempting to hurt Biden politically and portray this belief they have of a two-tier justice system. We'll get to more specifics on the hearing itself more broadly, but this is a story of its own we have to discuss. Marjorie Greene used this hearing on national television as an opportunity to show nude photos of Hunter Biden. Now, to be fully accurate, they were sort of obscured, so there were little black bars blocking out certain places, but still pretty obscene, you could say. Definitely sexually explicit, I would say. The act that is being performed between Hunter Biden and a woman is very clearly depicted there. And I'll show you this clip in just a moment. It seems like she could have potentially committed crimes doing this, so we'll get to that as well. But the desperate nature of Marjorie Greene's ambition to hurt Joe Biden politically has now led her to showing nude photos of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. And before we dive into the clip, and it'll be really short because the blur, I want to keep the blur on there just for the sake of YouTube, but it kind of popped on and off while Fox News was trying to figure out how to blur this. So I'll just show a little bit where it is blurred, and then if you're interested, you can obviously go find the unblurred version yourself. If you want to see it for some reason. So Republicans, keep this in mind as we walk through this, have been telling us they're not just trying to obsess over Hunter Biden as a person, because true liberals, you're correct that he's irrelevant to our political conversation other than the accusations we're making of him being corrupt with Joe Biden, because the family member of a politician is only relevant if in some way the politician was involved in wrongdoing, or the family member themselves has power in some way. So they are in the administration, for example, like Ivanka or Jared Kushner. So Republicans have said, no, we're not just focusing on him as a person and his very admittedly troubled life, for sure. And we understand that, of course, everyone on the left accepts if Hunter Biden committed crimes, as he did with not paying his taxes and lying on a form saying he wasn't addicted to drugs when he was, to get a firearm, he should be held accountable for that. In that case, it led to a plea deal. Very typical deal for those types of potential charges. But any other possible violation of the law on the part of Hunter Biden, hold him accountable, absolutely. But how is that relevant to our political conversation? It's not, unless those crimes involve Joe Biden, and that's the link they just can't make. And we have talked so extensively about this. Even this week, we walked through the way in which these accusations against Biden are just falling apart, unraveling, and the GOP seems to be getting repeatedly humiliated. So within that context, now, I guess we're supposed to believe that Republicans believe what Marjorie Greene here is showing is relevant to Joe Biden's quote unquote corruption, or what they're saying his corruption is. And this is, it doesn't even, I'm not even going to give her the time of day of walking through clips of her explaining what her accusations are. But I guess here she's trying to say he was paying a sex worker or something. And that's the context in which she shows these images of Hunter Biden. And so here's just a short portion where things are kind of falling apart and they're trying to wrap this up.
3 seconds over. As long as Ms. Ocasio-Cortez can get equal time, she can keep going.
I will let Ms. Greene.
So there it is. For our podcast listeners, let me describe. And for video viewers, since it was blurred, picture this, okay? A nude person and another nude person doing nude person things. Okay, that's what was behind the blur. And that's what she was showing on this poster board. Humiliating, completely violating to Hunter Biden, and no justification for that being shown during this hearing. And then here's an interesting element of this. The New Republic reports Marjorie Taylor Greene may have sent Hunter Biden nudes to a bunch of minors. There are laws about not doing this, and it walks through the context that we've discussed. In her desperation to prove wrongdoing by Hunter Biden, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene may have sent his nude photos to minors. What are they talking about? Well, you can see here she wrote in an email to her I guess, the people on her email list, her constituents, or anyone subscribed to the email list, and said, see, I exposed Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and all of that, with a link to a video where she's showing these images during this hearing. And it says there's no screening for age when signing up for Greene's email newsletter. So any minors who subscribe, such as for a social studies project or simply to stay up to date, have now received nudes from their congresswoman. Now, I'll say again, this reporting is interesting, and the fact that she did this is absurd and vile. I don't on this understand exactly how they would define it being obscene enough, because certain aspects of the body were blacked out, but it was pretty, I would say it was obviously depicting a sexual act. It would not be appropriate for children. So I understand the case that's being made here for sure. Not sure how the law would weigh in on it. If that is the case, then Greene would not only have violated her state's revenge porn law, which we'll discuss as well, but she could also have broken federal laws banning the distribution of obscene materials to minors. The person who's accusing the left of being groomers because they expose minors to sexually explicit content lies, but she says it. She's now exposing minors to sexually explicit content. Pretty wild. And the other aspect of this that people are correctly pointing out is this. To support her argument, she held up poster-sized prints of Biden's nude photos, which were taken off his laptop. Not only were her actions widely inappropriate, Oversight Chair James Comer did not reprimand her, obviously, though, but she may also have violated DC revenge porn law. And indeed, it shall be unlawful, this law writes, in the District of Columbia for a person to knowingly disclose one or more sexual images of another identified or identifiable person when it lists multiple options, one being the person depicted did not consent to the disclosure of the sexual image. And you tell me, but I doubt that Hunter Biden gave his consent for Marjorie Greene to show those images. Now, you have the protection of the speech and debate clause, and also when it comes to what happened in the hearing, not the emails, and also the fact that the image was partially obscured. So I'm not weighing in on the legality, but clearly vile, inappropriate, and from my understanding, could have been against the law there, which is pretty dang stunning. And AOC immediately called her out on this during the hearing. Take a look.
Today also marked a new low when pornographic images were paraded in this hearing room. Chairman Comer, last October, you told Time magazine that you were not interested in the sordid details of Hunter Biden's life. You were quoted as saying, quote, that's counter to a credible investigation, and I agree. Sadly, that is a reflection of how low some individuals here have been willing to go in their efforts to attack the president and his family. And frankly, I don't care who you are in this country. No one deserves that. It is abuse. It is abusive.
She's exactly right. Their obsession with Hunter Biden has led them to stooping this low. Disgusting. And then here's Robert Garcia.
Today's hearing is like most of the majority's investigations and hearings. A lot of allegations, zero proof, no receipts, but apparently some dick pics.
Right. And no one is saying that Hunter Biden doesn't have a very troubled past, and no one's defending him on any potential actions that were incorrect in any way. And the question is, from the left and from reasonable people, okay, but how is this relevant to our political conversation? If you actually had evidence of corruption and Hunter Biden was involved with Joe Biden in some corrupt scheme, then that would be relevant because Biden has power and he is relevant to our political conversation. So we would want to know if he's corrupt. But time and time again, and again, we walked through this very extensively so many times now, these claims have been so thoroughly debunked. And so now Marjorie Greene and others are left doing this. Now, just Marjorie Greene has done this, but stooping to lows like this. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.